To be clear, that $1.5 trillion is not all federal investment. In fact, most of it, the federal government is sort of relying on private investment as well as state and local investment. So how exactly does this whole system work?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Julie. Look, I've been crunching the numbers all morning, and this is really going to come down to three factions within President Trump and his administration's infrastructure proposal, totaling more than $1.5 trillion. The first is a $200 billion down payment of sorts to help jumpstart this program. That would be $200 billion in federal funds. The second is relying on a reduction of the time it takes in order to get permits at the state level. The administration promising to cut regulatory red tape, focusing in on key environmental protections as well that they say prolong the process and stunt economic and job growth. And the third point, and this is where it gets interesting, is their reliance on public and private partnerships, a wonky term that was first spearheaded in Australia known as asset recycling. It would allow the private sector to come in to buy off debt from municipalities or other federal state work programs and then have to return the interest to the government as a way for the government to raise money, helping to make up the amount needed more for the infrastructure program. The bottom line is that deficit hawks are weary on this. Earlier this morning, I spoke on the telephone with Congressman Dave Bratt of the Freedom Caucus, who said essentially, look, they've got to get more details if they hope to get this done. And oh yeah, that budget proposal that they passed last week absolutely ripped up this wonky term known as reconciliation. That means it's a very steep battle to get another legislative accomplishment for Republicans ahead of midterms.
Well, a steep battle, but talk to me about that $200 billion you mentioned right at the top. Is that new money? Is that new money putting in infrastructure? Because as I read it, it sounded like they're going to save that from other transportation department programs, things that, by the way, President Obama sort of liked.
Well, quite frankly, David, it depends on who you ask. When you talk to administration officials, they say that it's a result of getting that $200 billion through cutting funds in other programs. But point blank, that might be a way to win over some conservatives who are weary of additional government funding and expansive government products, expansive government overreach. And then on the flip side of that, you've got folks who say, hey, wait a minute, you guys are just writing another check on this. They're going to have to get more details on that in the weeks ahead.